heading out to do some milling. But you'll notice I'm not in my truck. In fact, I'm not pulling a sawmill. The reason there were two sawmills in my driveway is because a couple things happened. One, in my last video, I kind of mentioned it a little bit, and in previous videos, that I have some back trouble. And in this particular case, it had gotten pretty significant. Frankly, to the point that walking was painful. And it turns out that I have more trouble with my back than I thought. So, don't worry, I'm not stopping milling. However, I have some customers that I really needed to take care of, that I had been unable to get to as quickly as I would like. And with my back giving me some trouble, and in my last video I mentioned that my sawmill wasn't running quite right. And with the sawmill not running quite right, I decided it would be better to try to take care of those customers. So I put a call out in a couple different places, and Kevin, whom I've actually known as Crossroads on Forestry Forum, reached out and he said, "What you got?" And it's not the first time Kevin reached out to me. So just kind of as a side note, Kevin's just one of those guys that he's willing to help people out. And he had actually offered to help me out last year when I had a problem with a bearing on my idle side band wheel. And my back was out then and I couldn't get it fixed. And he offered to come down and fix it, but I managed to get it done without needing him to come down. So that was really nice of him to do that. And in this case, he reached out and he said, "What you got, Eric? What's going on?" And so I explained the situation, and he said, "All right, well, let me see what I can do." And so Kevin agreed to pick those customers up for me and come out here and do the milling. And in exchange, I get to bring it to you on video. In any case, we're gonna get going. I'm gonna stop talking and start driving. We gotta get to the location and get set up, but I'm gonna bring that to you, so stick around. We'll get her done.
You want to stop me when my turner's about right there?
Right here? You got it. You got about maybe a foot. I've never done that. You just let her go, huh?
Yeah.
Wow. I've always just slowly brought mine down. You're faster than I am.
I plug my ears when I do it, though.
I saw that. This, folks, is how you set up a sawmill fast. When you're in a hurry and you got lots to do and a long ways to go, somebody who's done this a lot can set up a mill fast. And Kevin has done this a lot. So if you're watching this for the first time, this is not my mill. This is actually Kevin Bales Enterprises. Kevin, he's over there. Wave, Kevin. He's also got a YouTube channel, and I'll drop a link down below for his YouTube. He does shorts and just some stuff with his phone. Honestly, he spends more time milling than he does trying to do YouTube. And he's got a lot of hours on this mill. He's made a lot of lumber on it. And we're gonna get to watch today. I'm gonna bring that to you. Well, Kevin does the work, since I'm just a busted up old jarhead and can't do it. But I find it interesting, there are definitely some differences in his mill and mine, and they're only a year apart. Now, I gotta tell you, when you look at Kevin's mill, what you're seeing here is not Woodmizer's fault. This is called salt from northern Idaho. And when you mill full-time like Kevin does, and you drag your mill down salty roads in the wintertime, well, they're gonna get some rust on them. It's just gonna happen. And when you beat them up and you work full time on it, and I will stay out of Kevin's way, then that's gonna happen. That's the way it works. You can see he's done some repairs. I can see on that guide arm right there, he's welded something back together there, and it looks like maybe right over here too. Definitely done some repairs on this mill. You don't run mills like we do without them getting beat up. That's just the way it is. It's part of the business. You know, sometimes guys ask about longevity and you know, how these mills perform over time and how do they do maintenance wise. We'll tell you the truth. You beat the heck out of them. That's what happened. 2133.
And then I wasn't sure, you know, how you're gonna have to. I left it alone. I didn't get my saw out and try to part around with any of these. But you decide where you want to cut it or how you would cut it to get the best. I mean, if we just do one really good section right here and then just do what we can with the rest.
So, okay, basic rundown, there's no hand bed plates.
Okay.
And once I go up and start heading back, that board's yours. And on the stuff that's too heavy, you know, if you're by yourself, and I'm going to help you.
Well, yeah, the slabs are the thing that I'm worried about. How I'll handle that.
So you'd be on this side?
We're on this side?
Yep. Hopefully you roll it over. So make sure you're a good bite before you trust it and lean in on it. Test it a little bit.
Here, I gotta get a better bite.
Okay, I'll hold it here.
How high do I go?
As high as you feel comfortable grabbing it and can get good leverage. Yeah.
It's kind of soft.
All right, as Kevin gets this log milled down, I kind of wanted to point out a few of the differences. Now, Kevin's mill is a 2017 Woodmizer LT40 hydraulic wide head. Now, that gives him 6 inches wider a cut than I can make. So, rather than 28 inches between both of the roller guide wheels, he's got 34. That makes a huge difference. And I'll be honest, I haven't been around a wide head mill yet. I really haven't seen one in operation. When they came out, it literally came out the year after I bought my mill. And I thought about it from time to time, wondering if it would really be worth having. And honestly, I was kind of wondering how it would do on really wide cuts, because if you don't have everything set up right, guess what? You can have other issues with really wide cuts. So I kind of wondered how it would do, especially with the 26.5 horse motor. So first off, I have to tell you, it was great. It ran awesome. Now, bear in mind, Kevin had 2,133 hours or something like that on this mill. This is not his first mill. In fact, it's his third mill. I believe he said he started on a Mobile Dimensions first. He didn't mill much on that mill. He said he could barely keep it running. Best he did was like 4.5 hours one day or something like that. But he did run that mill and make lumber with it. And then he got, I want to say he said it was an LT40, and it was an all manual mill. And then he actually made it hydraulic. And, that's the kind of thing a lot of sawyers do. They figure out ways to do things better. And eventually, of course, he sold that mill and got into this one in 2017. So it's not how tight he keeps his bands, and he actually keeps his drive belt tighter than I do. And I'm going to have to go back and look in the book, and I'll drop it down below in the description below what Woodmizer says. But I was thinking that Woodmizer said 14 pounds on the 26.5 horse motor. Kevin was saying he recalled seeing 14 to 17 pounds as a range. Now, one thing I've learned with Woodmizer, and I may have to ask James this, but Woodmizer has changed a few of their specs over the years. So it's possible maybe the wide head has a slightly different range than maybe the standard does, or maybe they made a change. And I'm going to have to try to find that out for you, because I run really close to 15 pounds on my drive belt. Kevin runs 17, and I find that very interesting. Another thing that you'll notice with what Kevin does that's very different than what I do is he actually shuts down the mill after each cut. So he fires it up, makes the cut, shuts her down, fires it. That I'm doing, that Kevin's doing all the milling. You're going to see that more and more. So really pay attention. He's very fast at it too. And I have to tell you, I was pretty impressed by that. When you're running one of these mills, there's a lot going on. But for Kevin, he just developed a system where it was easy for him to go ahead, hit the auto clutch, get into the cut, hit the auto clutch to come out of the cut, and then hit the auto clutch when he's ready to go into the next cut. And I found that interesting. He said that it used less fuel for him, and it was something that he's developed. So I got to try that. It's interesting because I just leave the band running. I find that really works for me, but I might try Kevin's way just to kind of compare him. Another thing that I noticed was that Kevin uses diesel for his band lube, and a lot of folks, we have this discussion. I use water, pine sol, and dish soap. A lot of guys use diesel, and they really think the diesel's the way to go. Well, Kevin assured me diesel is the way to go, and I will tell you something. For an entire day of milling, and it was hot, and there were some big dry logs, he didn't add any diesel or any other lubricant to the mill the entire day. Well, I've never done that before. So I suppose for those that are big fans of the diesel, I might have just seen something that makes a hell of a lot of difference. I mean, for me, I'm going through water like crazy. I go through 5 gallons of water every 1 or 2 hours. Kevin had a diesel bottle up on his mill, and he never added to it. He never changed it. He just used the same one, and he mentioned that he had to kind of get the drip just right. But after that, he forgets about it. He doesn't care. He doesn't worry about it. His band doesn't build up any sawdust. You guys, I mean, I've been using water and pine sol and dish liquid for well, what is it now, 12 years? And it's worked for me. But I gotta say, maybe I might be becoming a believer. Now, I don't know if you noticed too, he's got a little cup holder on his mill. What a fantastic idea. I can't tell you how many times I'm wondering where the heck to put my water bottle when I'm running my mill. So that's a great one. Now, interesting fact on the LT40 wide head was that Kevin told me that he had to actually mod his mill and upgrade it to get that debarker, because when those LT40 wide head mills first came out, the debarker was not an option. So his is different than mine, and basically very similar, if not the same, as what you would see on a modern LT40 wide. But in his case, he had to order it once they finally had built the prototype or made it, bring it in, and then mount it himself. And it works great. He's got it all working. And honestly, he might have had James over at Wood Village do it. I can't quite remember. But in any case, he had to get it done because his mill didn't come with one. And debarkers are amazing. You got to have one on a mill if you want to keep your bands running smooth for a long time. They just cut the bark and dirt and everything out of the way. But the interesting thing about this debarker is it's very heavy, and it sits further out on the mill head than mine does. Mine's very close. It swings in and shoots all the sawdust right at my face. It's terrible. Now, it spins the other way. But he told me a couple things that I found very interesting. Number one is that it sits so far out and it's so heavy that it can actually cause the head to tilt forward a little bit if you're not careful. So if you go into a wide cut and you hit it hard and you swing that debarker in all at the same time, it does something else which contributes to this, and that is it has a tendency to dig into the log. So they had to put kind of a disc underneath the cutter head to prevent it from digging too deep into the log. And I found that interesting, and I guess it's because it's turning the same direction the mill's going, and so just it wants to dig in. And when it does that, though, it can kind of tilt that head. And so he was saying that on the really wide cuts, you really got to pay attention, come in slow, and then you can build your speed up a little bit as you go. But you also got to watch that debarker and make sure, if it starts to dig in a little bit, you got a big knot or something, it's going to stop you. Mine can stop too, but it never tries to dig in. It just, shoots the sawdust right at your face. So in any case, this is the first of 4 logs, and this is a big log. It was a pretty good sized log, but Kevin and the customer were able to get it up on the mill, and it was without my help. So honestly, Darcy, I didn't help him. I did come over once and run hydraulics for him. He asked me to. I can do that. I'm hobbling around most of the time with a cane. I'd had a shot in my back, which really helps out. And actually, honestly, folks, today I'm doing really well, so I'm going to get some maintenance done on the mill. But I really needed to take it easy, and so I really appreciated Kevin, his coming out and doing this for me. It's Kevin Bales Enterprises in North Idaho. He knows what he's doing. He's awesome. All right, so what do we got here, right? We're making 2x4s, 2x6s, some big slabs. This stuff is gorgeous. I'm going to show you some of that here. And it's just amazing stuff. So I'm going to let this run a little bit, and then I'm going to come back to you, talk to you a little bit about what's coming up, folks. So stick around, hang with me. Let's get this log done. right, how about that? Isn't that awesome? Listen, Kevin has got this next super gnarly log to do, and then we've got another big one. He's got to cut it in half. We got to drag it over to the mill and get those milled down, and there's more coming after that. So stick around, folks. More to come. I really appreciate you being here. Thanks for watching, and do me a favor, hit that like button, spread this video around a little bit, and why not hit that subscribe and the notification bell. It's free, and you'll know when the next video comes out. Lots more to show you with Kevin Bales Enterprises milling here in the Tri-Cities for me. Thanks for watching, folks. Y'all have a great day. The old Jarhead out.